extremely important when you're buying a private vehicle. I can't stress that enough. So it is a good way to weed out all the cars that have potential issues just by asking, as the buyer, you want to have the power to walk away. I think that's really important here. You don't want to get too emotionally attached. This way is actually a good tactic to also use in the negotiation process. "95% of you guys watching my videos are not subscribed." 95%! That's crazy. That's a crazy number. Now look, I'm not going to tell you to like and subscribe my channel. I'm not like everybody else. I do things differently, and that's just the way I am. But I will say this: if you have learned anything from my channel, if you have learned anything from my videos so far, if you have gained any value, if you have enjoyed my videos at all, do me just one small favor. At least even think about maybe subscribing to my channel. It would really help. You can say no, but if you do say yes, that would mean a lot, and it really help my channel grow, and I'll be able to pump out more content for you guys, be able to put more money into these videos, give you guys more value, and it would really mean a lot and help me out. So go on, you know what to do. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Sean, and in today's video I will be giving you my top 5 tips for when buying a car privately. So this is a highly requested video by you guys, and I'm more than happy to share my top 5 tips. So when you're out there buying your next car, you can use these to make sure you get the best deal and the safest deal that you can get possibly on the market. So at number 1, we will start with market research. So doing your research beforehand is very key in finding out what problems that might occur on this car, what sort of regular maintenance issues you're going to look at in the future, and knowing what the vehicle is worth and what that vehicle is worth compared to other similar models on the market. So doing your research beforehand is definitely key. You can type in Google, look for main common issues with whatever particular car that you're interested in, find out what those issues are and if those are a deal breaker. If it doesn't have good reviews and it doesn't have a good reputation for reliability, then definitely stay away from that sort of car. So you want to pick a make and a model that is popular, that is easy to get parts for, that is easy to maintain and easy to look after. So choosing the right make and model is definitely vital in selecting the right car. So you want to do your research beforehand, and you go on sites like Trade Me here in New Zealand, just see what other vehicles of similar age and mileage are going for, so you get an indication on the value of your vehicle. Now keep in mind that just because other vehicles are listed on a website like Trade Me, say for $13,000, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it's worth or what it will sell for. That's just the listing price, but that's not what the vehicle might actually sell for in terms of its retail value. So you just want to be careful with those. Sometimes people will overprice their vehicles, so you want to make sure that you're getting a good, accurate estimation of your vehicle. So number 1, market research. Find a make and model that's popular, something that's reliable, and make sure you do your due diligence when it comes to the value of your vehicle, and make sure you're not overpaying. So number 2 on the list is running your checks. So these checks, especially the VIN checks and money owing checks, are extremely important when you're buying a private vehicle. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people will sell their cars with money owing on them and not tell the buyers or advertise in their listing that there is money owing. So that person essentially has gotten out a loan to get the car, and if the bank or the finance company doesn't get those payments for that car, that will become your responsibility in the event that you purchase that vehicle. So the loan will transfer over to you, and they can, in certain situations, have the power to take back the car. So obviously that's not a scenario you want to land yourself in. So just for $10 you can run a check on websites like MotorWeb and CarJam, where you can actually get a full report on all of the history of the car, including when it was imported into New Zealand or whatever country, any issues if it was flagged at the border. You can, if there's any issues with also its odometer, it's an important one, if the kilometers have been wound back, and which is a common occurrence in a lot of cars. So you definitely want to make sure that the kilometers are legit, especially if it is really low kilometers and something might seem a bit off. If it's done super low Ks and it's a really old vehicle, there's a good way to check, and it will tell you if there is money owing on the vehicle. It will also tell you how many owners it has. That's another pro tip. You want to find something that has, the less owners the better. So if something's got 10, 15 owners, you know it's been passed around a lot, there may be issues with this car and people just keep flicking it off, wanting to get rid of it. So you always want to go something that has maybe 1, 2, 3 owners, especially for an old car. So the less owners the better. Something with a lot of owners you definitely probably want to stay away from, just because it's been passed around a lot and there could be potential issues. So number 2, like I just said, was make sure you run your money owing checks, your background checks on the vehicle. You want a full history report, and this is also a good way to use as a negotiating tactic. So yeah, make sure you get that report. Number 3 on this list is inspecting the vehicle. So obviously when it comes to inspecting the vehicle, and if you're not very knowledgeable about cars, it can be a bit daunting looking over a car. So when you can always bring a friend along, if you know someone that's a mechanic that is mechanically minded, they can check it out for you. Is always a good option. But if you're mechanically minded and you have a bit of an idea on cars, it is always good to check the main things like oil. Make sure the oil level is at its correct level, as well as service history. You want to make sure it's regularly serviced, been well maintained, and ask for the receipts for all of that stuff. One key thing here is you want to, if you can, possibly view in the daytime. Viewing at night, really, it makes it hard to find issues, especially on the paint. Just obviously at night it is dark and it is harder to see things, so always try and view cars in the daytime. And if you can't, then take it to your local gas station. They have good lighting there. You can get a bit of a better indication on the condition of the vehicle if you're under better light. So that is always another option if you have to view at night time. So you want to make sure you go over the whole entire vehicle, take it for a good test drive, make sure you get up to 100 kilometers on some open road. That way you can hear any strange noises when it's going at sort of near top speed on the motorway. And once you get back, you want to look underneath the vehicle, check for any leaks, check in the engine bay, check the oil cap. If there's any white sort of sludge in there, that'll indicate that there's water getting into the oil, and it could be a head gasket. You want to rev the engine, check the exhaust. If there's any smokes coming out from the exhaust, that means it's burning oil and there might be wear on the engine. Make sure you open up all the doors, the boots, and check underneath all the carpets. You really want to check anywhere on the vehicle. Make sure that there aren't any hidden issues that you're going to take on and possibly pay for in the future. And always a good thing, if you aren't mechanically minded, is to get a vehicle inspection. They range from, I think, $150 to $300 here in New Zealand, and this way is actually a good tactic to also use in the negotiation process. So if you get a mechanical inspection, which you will most likely will have to pay for, any issues that come out on the vehicle that aren't serious, that can be fixed, you can actually use those as a negotiating tactic. when it comes time if you want to purchase the vehicle and try and get yourself the best deal. And this way also, when you ask, can I get a vehicle inspection, another pro tip here is a lot of people, if there are issues with the car, if they may just say no, they don't want to no to a vehicle inspection because they don't want to go through that process. They know there are issues on the car, and if they take the time to take it in and get an inspection, then you're going to find the issues and it's just going to be a waste of time and they're not going to sell the car. So it is a good way to weed out all the cars that have potential issues just by asking, hey look, can I get a vehicle inspection? And if they say no, then you know that there must be issues with the car that they are hiding. So even if you're not prepared to pay for one, it is a good question just to ask, just to find out if there might be something that the owner is hiding. So number 4 on the list is negotiating. So in a position when the listing price is fair and it's not crazy cheap, because in those scenarios you don't have much leverage in terms of negotiation. They will have all the power, and having a heap of buyers coming to them wanting to pay asking price in those sort of situations, if it is a really good deal, you just want to pay asking price. But even to secure the deal, sometimes even just throwing a couple of $100 extra that way to the seller might just secure the deal. If it's a really good one and you want to secure it, is pay a little bit over asking price just to secure the deal. But if it is at normal market value, you definitely want to try and use any issues that you find with the car to help negotiate the price down. No one likes paying asking price, you know, everything is negotiable, and if you don't ask, you don't get. So it is important to try and negotiate hard. Put it to the seller, you know, it's got this issue, it needs this, it hasn't had a service, it's got a waft coming up, I found this, and it equals to this value. Can we work out something where to take off the asking price and find a fair deal here? So you definitely want to pose the question and use whatever negotiating tactics such as this with any issues with the car to try and get the best possible deal for yourself. So negotiate hard and definitely use any market research. Hey look, this came up, this is going for $500 cheaper, can you match this? Otherwise I'm going to go and have a look at this one. So use any other vehicles on the market that's a cheaper, less Ks, maybe slightly newer, that can potentially sway the buyer to give you some money off the asking price. But you also don't want to seem too keen. As the buyer, you want to have the power to walk away. I think that's really important here. You don't want to get too emotionally attached to the vehicle, because if the seller knows that you really want it and you're going to be willing to pay asking price and could overpay for it. So you don't want to seem too keen. You want to play it cool, keep your cards close to your chest, and that way the seller doesn't know, hey look, they might go look at something else, I could lose a sale here. So you don't want to become too emotionally attached. You want to play your cards right and just keep it cool and say, hey look, I do have other ones I'm looking at, what's the best deal you can do for me now? Otherwise I will go look at something else. So that's another good tip there for where during the negotiation process. Tip number 5 is obviously the paperwork and payment. So when it comes, so you've looked at the vehicle, you're happy with it, you want to purchase it, you want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly when it comes to the paperwork, especially when it comes to the change of ownership. So when you're buying a car, you want to make sure that your buyer's side is done correctly. So you can go on the NZTA website or your local transport agency website and fill out the paperwork there. Just put your license in, do the appropriate details, and make sure that the vehicle is changed into your name. Often there might be sellers where the car isn't in their name, or they haven't done the change of ownership properly, but you will find those issues in the vehicle report, the background check. And it is always important to make sure this is done properly and getting some type of paperwork from the seller that they have sold it, the date, and you can always find a vehicle sale agreement on the internet. They'll give you basically a template where you can fill out the details of the sale, and it is always nice to have a record of sale on the paperwork. Definitely always get the ID from the seller just to make sure that that person correlates with the registered seller to the vehicle. As a lot of time people will sell a vehicle and they're not actually the registered owner, but they will say they are. So the way you can check that is you can actually put their details from their ID into NZTA, and it will show you if they are the registered owner. So you know, and you can trust the seller that they are the person that owns the vehicle. So you definitely want to make sure all the paperwork is done right, especially when it comes to payment as well. Paying doing online transfer is always safest versus rather than cash. You never know if someone sees the cash, you've got it in your pocket. They may, if they're a little bit dodgy or something, they may threaten you to take the cash because they know it's right in your pocket. So always do a bank transfer, screenshot it so you just got proof, and for your peace of mind and the seller's peace of mind, you could wait for that to clear. Otherwise, if they're happy to take or let the vehicle go once the funds have been processed, then it's all yours. So you definitely want to make sure you get the purchase sale agreement, so you've got all the details clear of the sale. You want to make sure that the funds are transferred properly, don't carry cash, and make sure that the registered owner or the seller is legally able to sell that car. So those are my top 5 tips. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. It's out there trying to add value to my videos, and next time you guys are out purchasing a private car, definitely use some of those tips. Hopefully they might help secure you a better and safer deal. In my next video, I'm going to go over my top 5 tips for selling a vehicle. So if you guys have got a vehicle for sale or want to learn some expert tips on selling a car and getting the most value for that car, definitely head over to that video now, and we'll see you in that one.